Well, hello there, everybody. Good evening and happy Thursday. You have reached the Zone of Control podcast with Cardboard Commander. My name is Jerry, and I'll be your host for this evening. And I am really excited about tonight's show. We are going to have a special guest on here that we've been chatting back and forth for a little while. And so I'm going to bring him on real quick. And there he is, the infamous Wayne Hanson. How are you, sir?
Doing fantastic. How you doing, Jerry?
I'm great. So looks like we've already got a pretty good crowd in here. So we'll just say hi to a few people. So how cold is it in Minnesota?
Oh man, we had -8, so 8 below zero last night. It's warmed up now. I think it's up to maybe 10, 11 degrees, something like that. We're going to go back into the negatives tonight, tomorrow night, Saturday night, and then Sunday. I think we'll warm back up to mid-20s. It's a normal winter up here.
Yeah, we actually had we were in the single digits for a couple days, which is pretty crazy for us in the semi-south down here, And but yeah, it's been good. It looks like we got a good crowd. Everybody's in the house. Stuka, I saw him. Anthony, Christoph's in the house.
Fantastic.
There's Mike Berticelli. What's up, buddy? How are you? Man, we got a lot of people in here to see. See, I got to have people on. Then the place gets busy. See. Let's see. Charles is here. Man, we got a good little crowd here. Thomas is here from Sweden, and he's probably just laughing at us because of all of our talking about how cold it is.
Yeah, no kidding.
And let's say more Christoph. Yep. So, what's this? Staying up to catch a show with Wayne. So, Thomas, I thought you were just hanging out with me. You just wanted to come hang out with me.
That's what I heard. I don't know if I believe that, but we'll
right. Well, guys, as you guys know, I try to keep this pretty short and sweet. But this week we are going to have a longer show because I'm going to be grilling my man Wayne because we kind of disagree on a couple things, especially when it comes to some war game companies and things like that. So it's going to be kind of exactly. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm just going to kind of run through what I've done this week, and then I'll kind of ask Wayne what he's been doing. So there's Wayne. So go make sure you go check out his channel. You guys all know he's got a real YouTube channel. Got a lot of subscribers and a boatload of videos and really good stuff. So, but yeah. So this week we're going to talk about what's on the table. We're going to talk about what I'm playing online and Vassal, the rule book of the week, which has been a big thing that we've been doing. We'll get more information from our special guest. And we'll kind of go from there. So I'm going to rattle through this here pretty quickly because I know you guys don't want to hear me. You want to hear me and Wayne. So a couple weeks from now, we are going to have Jester's going to be on for his first show. And we will have a Hex and Banter segment in that show. And the way that's going to work is it's going to be 10 minutes. And we're going to throw out a topic. And we're going to get 2 minutes each to talk about the positives or whatever we are kind of have a debate on what we want to throw out there, and then we'll have 2 minutes each to banter about how the other person's wrong and how I'll be right most of the time, and then we'll let you guys vote on who won, and then so we'll be doing that. He'll be coming on every the second Tuesday of every month, and he'll be on for the whole show, but that'll be one of the segments that we do. So Wayne, have you been on Jester's show?
All right. Sorry, I had my mic muted there for a second.
You're okay.
I have not. So I was always a little scared of those guys. So back when they had their show and they were running stuff, I was a little intimidated by all them. No, I'm just kidding. You know what? It just didn't work out with my work and a crazy schedule and everything. Sometimes it's limited. Sometimes I'm available. Hey, here I am. But sometimes it's very much like, hey, can you come over this time? Nope. I work overnights and I don't work Monday through Friday. That's for sure. So just not always available. But I'm glad it worked out for today anyway.
Right. Oh, look at Mike. Okay, Mike, you can go.
Yeah. Right. How do you ban people? Can I ban people? How do I do
right? Well, so here's the thing. I'm going to go off on a little tangent with Mike here. So he's a Raider fan for one thing. I didn't know there was any Raider fans out there.
Yeah, they still exist, or you used to be one.
Well, I guess. And then I'm a Broncos fan, so he was hoping everybody would lose last weekend. So unfortunately, we were on the bad end of that part of it. But yeah, those guys. I do miss the War Room, but there's some good shows on now. Tony and those guys are doing a great job on their other show. Wayne, do you have any regrets about the game getting thrown in the trash?
We'll save that for the Q&A later.
Okay. Yeah, I always watch the Judge show, Wayne and Judge show as well, and look at Mike. So let's keep on moving here. So on the 26th of February, we are going to have the guys on from Battlefield Banter, and that is a newer channel. I met, they reached out to me. They both play on the Combat Commander ladder, which I play. So have you played Combat Commander, Wayne?
I have not. Nope, I've never played it. I'm waiting for them to develop a nice solo module, an official one, so I can get into it and dive into it solitaire. From what I've heard, it's not very solo friendly.
Yeah, it's not. The good thing is there's a lot of people to. They're already getting on you about the Packers.
Save the heat for later, guys. Come on, we gotta ease into the show here. Come on, guys.
So we'll be having Mark and Dave on for that. I'll be playing Dave in Italy 43 next week. I think it is. We're gonna have a Vassal game. So we'll be playing there. So stay tuned for those guys. They've got a new up and coming channel. So if you haven't seen it, go check out Battlefield Banter. Man, guys, I want to really thank you for Tuesdays have been amazing at the show. A show of people that have been showing up at 7 o'clock in the morning to sit there and have coffee with me and just talk about everything and anything for 30 minutes. And it's been a lot of fun, and I really do appreciate you guys doing that. It's a low pressure, nothing going on there. It's basically just one of those things that I'm up, doing the drinking coffee and doing the war game thing. So yeah, so guys, keep your controversial stuff. We'll get Wayne, we'll get him on the hot seat soon. So yeah, so thanks again for all your support, and I hope to see you guys every Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I got on the table, so we're going to talk about this with Wayne too. I got a bone to pick with Wayne about Berlin too, but I got Berlin on the table. I played it a couple of times, and it's a lot of fun. It's just like the rest, very hard to beat, and it's been fun so far. I'll be playing Imperial Tide online. We'll have that on the channel. Another David and I will be playing that together. So stay tuned for that. That's one of my favorite games. I call it kind of Paths of Glory Light. It's pretty good. I've got a ASL starter kit. I got 3 or 4 games going on there, which I'm playing on Vassal, which I always love to do. And then we've got Italy 43 coming up too. So, and then I've also been playing some sports games. So Wayne, do you play sports games at all?
Not anymore. Well, not really. So, not like pen and paper, cardboard, anything like that. I used to play. I actually played Stratomatic baseball for a while, and then I didn't keep up with it, and it just all the paperwork got to be a bit much. And then I used to always play. I think it's Out of the Park, which is a PC game, right? I used to get that, and I used to play that every year. I'd run my own franchise. Well, usually I'd take the Milwaukee Brewers and their limited budget, which even the game would simulate. Thanks, game. And I would try, and I'd just do trades, and I'd get enough guys I could win a couple World Series, and then I'd have to trade away everybody before I'd sign them to contract. So just kind of like real life, except minus the World Series.
Right. And,
yeah. I love sports, man. I'm a sports guy. Packers, Badgers. I'm all about it.
And man, you'd think that if you were all about it, you'd root for somebody who could win.
Here we go. See, we're already getting heated in here, fellas.
But so I've been playing in an APBA baseball league since 1985, and we used to do all handwritten stats. Well, now the computer, of course, has done all that. So so I do play a lot of of that sort of thing. But I do like sports games, and I've gotten more into them. I've actually formed a Facebook group called Sports Games with Jerry. I've been playing a lot of fast drive football and a couple other games. So, that kind of ebbs and flows with how I want to do things. So Lacey Dave said, I played Berlin today, got my butt kicked. Yeah, man, I tell you, this game it's imperative to have supply, and all of them are, but this one will beat you up if you don't have supply. Well, Tony, it's good. Hey, you played Memoir with me and crushed me, so that's but everybody beats me, so that's not a Padres. Yep. So Charles, I forgot you're a SoCal kind of guy. All right, my rule book on the table is Empire of the Sun. I've been actually having a lot of fun with this, and Mr. Herman's been bantering back and forth with me and asking, if I have any questions, I send him questions personally, and that's been kind of nice when you can just reach out to the designer of the game and he helps you out. It is crunchy and it's a little different. The combat's a little different, but so far I've really enjoyed it, and I'll just keep diving into it. And so now you guys kind of got done with the me just talking real quick and everything, but now we've come to the good part. So I'm going to kind of give the mic over to Wayne and kind of let him give you. You guys all know who he is, but I'm going to kind of let him tell you who he is and what's been going on and what he's been playing and that sort of thing.
First off, Jerry, I noticed you spelled my name wrong on the slide here.
What?
So I'm already peeved at you, buddy.
There you go. Look at that.
He did. I think he did that. I think Jerry did that on purpose. You guys tell me if not. Otherwise, we're starting off hot and heated here. So it's going to be awesome. A long show, but it's going to be fun. All right. So
that's awesome.
My name is Wayne Hanson, not quite spelled like that, but you can see it in the little graphic too. So I run a solitaire YouTube channel. Some of you may know me. I see some of the names in the chat, a bunch of them. I think the wargaming community is a small enough community, right? A lot of people kind of follow, I don't want to say everybody, but they follow different things. So a few of you who haven't seen me, hey, you come check me out if you want. I focus mainly on solitaire wargaming. I like to deep dive on games. So what it is I like to get a game. I will do what I call a recon, which is an unboxing, but I like to, over the years now, I've turned it into more of a preview where I talk about mechanics. So I look at the rule book beforehand. You have a general understanding of how to play, and I try to describe that, what the components are, what they mean, to give you a little bit more in-depth preview. I know, I want to say, is it Mo from Mo's Game Table? He kind of does that with his previews. So that's what I started doing with my recons. And then I always like to do a playthrough, whether if it's an 8-hour game, I'm not doing an 8-hour video, or I'm not doing a bunch of 2-hour videos, 4 parts. I'm not doing that. I've learned over the years, people don't watch the follow-on videos as much, and I do a lot of work. If you guys watch my videos, I'm proud of them. I do a lot of post-production. I add in graphics, pictures, videos, things like that. So not Stuka Joe level, but I do my part, and it does take a lot of time and effort. So I like to limit it. So about an hour and a half. If I can fit a whole game in, I'll give you the whole game. If it's just a turn or two, that's what I'll do. I like to show those off. So I like to do those playthroughs. And then, if I feel comfortable with a game, which if I've done a recon and I've done a playthrough, and I play games multiple times, not to get too controversial too soon. I know there's some guys out there that do review videos that haven't self-admitted that they don't even finish a whole game and they do a review on it. I don't know if I agree with that. So I always make sure I finish a game. And again, depending on the game length, most of the time I've played a game multiple times, tried different strategies, and then I give you guys my review, my thoughts. And I try to explain why, things, my pros, cons, and final thoughts, and just kind of give you guys what I think and why I think that. And that's what I like to do with games. So I like to do a little bit of a deep dive, have a few videos come out on a game, and then I move on to the next one. So, that's kind of what I do over on my channel. So.
Well, I don't know why people are talking about the spelling or something. I don't understand what that was all about. But
hey, oh dang it, I forgot to screenshot it.
Right, so I don't know what you guys are talking about when it comes to spelling, but so when you mentioned something that's kind of a pet peeve of mine as well, and that's I don't do reviews.
Sure.
Just because it's I respect the people that do reviews, but my thing is I'm not buying a game. What you may like in a game is going to be totally different than what I like in a game. And and that's why Stuka Joe and I were talking about this, and that's why I like unboxings, because I can see what's in the game. I can kind of get an idea of what's in the game. Now there are certain people, like for solo games, when you're talking about a game, you're respected in that, and so. But yeah, when somebody says, "Hey, I read the rules and I played 2 turns and I didn't like the game," to me that's kind of a waste of time. But
Yeah.
each to their own. I mean, everybody's got their own thing. So,
Yep.
but so hey, so I know you and I talked a little bit. So I know you said you kind of got into D&D playing, when you started the hobby. What got you into war games? Kind of tell me that story.
Yeah. I know that. Well, Culver's VT Biker. It's Culver's is the correct answer to that question there. So as we talked about a little bit, right? So I wasn't, some of you guys out here, and you guys have been playing war games since you were kids. I didn't, other than Risk, which I barely count as a war game. But I got in D&D, like I said, when I was about 10 years old. And I was always into fantasy, role playing, played some other kind of role playing games, really got into that. Did strategy games on the computer. So I never really did war games on the table until one day, probably, I don't know, 15, 16 years ago. So again, compared to some of you guys out there, I'm a newbie. I bow down to you guys. Probably 15, 16 years ago, Memoir 44. I saw that. I can't remember where I was, Barnes and Noble or something. And I saw the box. I was like, what is this? Because I was always a history nerd though. So I remember in grade school, I borrowed a book from our grade school library, was a World War II almanac. And I was able to blow the dust off it because like nobody else had ever probably touched it in years. And I remember people looking at me kind of funny, but I just got into that. So, but I never got into the working part until Memoir 44. Hey, the plastic guys, the Army Men style, and the colors, the bright colors, and the big hexes, and the terrain tiles, that drew me in. Started playing it. There's this cards you're playing. You're rolling these dice, custom dice. Like, this is fantastic. What else is like that out there? And that was that's the top of down the slippery slope into wargaming from there.
I really like I had never played it till, like I said, recently.
Yeah.
But I had played some of the Command and Colors games, the Napoleonic stuff with Jester. And I love the idea of it. How, even that, everybody says it's a little crunchier, but it's still pretty easy to play, right? And get on. But so what was your first solo game that you got that kind of got you inspired with that?
Good question. Let's see. Possibly, and it's hard to say because I don't have it. I wish I could say, oh, I can tell you, because I know a lot of guys will say, I know exactly what was my first this, first that. I don't know. Back in the day, I don't remember my first kiss either. I don't know what her name was, but I can tell you that probably the first solo war game I remember that just stuck with me was In Magnificent Style from Herman Luttman.
Herman Luttman, yeah.
Victory Point Games, the original from Victory Point Games, right?
And it's kind of funny because being the old guy that I am, and a lot of the guys are out here, we didn't have. There was no such thing as a solo war game.
That's what I hear. Yeah.
And so you had to play everything two-handed. So that's why I'm still a big fan of doing that. I still like doing that.
Yep.
I do have to say though that I love the fact that people are designing solo war games, just because then it is easy to pick up and kind of play. And it's one of those things that I think we're in the heyday of the hobby, to be honest with you. I have to laugh when people, I grew up with SPI rule books and stuff that was horrible. And in today's world of wargaming, most of the war books the rule books are pretty good, and there's always some outliers there, but
Yep.
Man, and the counters, I have to laugh. I was telling Mark Herman, that playing Empire of the Sun, and I have to get a magnifying glass out to read the counters because it's got those little counters, and I'm like, and
I'm not there yet, thankfully.
Right, and you will be someday.
Oh,
and,
man,
you will be. So, do you play a lot of two-player games, or do you mostly focus on just solo games?
Yeah, so when I started, really getting into the hobby, and I'll even fast forward a bit and say when I started my YouTube channel, right? Because I started it probably pretty fast after I really got into the hobby. Like, yeah, I haven't had my channel for 15, 16 years. But I also didn't go Memoir 44 and then, 6 months later I owned 100 war games. That's not what happened. It was more gradual. I mean, definitely began the love affair with it. But I would say that when I really started my channel, so maybe 7, 8 years ago, and I really started looking at doing videos, I started picking up solitaire only, and I was like, I'm just going to do solitaire only. I'm not going to do two-handed. I'm not going to do. Then I quickly realized that I was missing out on some good gaming experiences, some good history, some good designs, and I wanted to share that as well. I wanted to have that, for myself because I enjoyed it, and then to share it with people. So then I pretty quickly branched out. So now, I do both. I solo design only. I still like to do a focus on those. So like, I notice on my channel, if I'm doing maybe a couple, two-handed style games, right, traditional games, I'll try to squeeze in a solo design game on purpose. I want people to see those because, like you said, Jerry, there's so many good ones right now. I mean, this is, I may not have even been alive for whatever the so-called golden age of wargaming was back in the day when, they sold 100,000 copies of a war game. Okay, those days may be past. But you know what? This is a wonderful time to be a wargamer. Solitaire or not, solo or not, there's so many great games out there, and I just want to show them off and have fun and play as many of them as I can.
I have to laugh. We were talking to a friend of mine, and sometimes you sit there and you reminisce, and you go, "Oh, I remember back in the day playing Avalon Hill or SPI games," and I don't know whether part of that is just reminiscing and the memory that you had of playing those games, because I was laughing. I was looking at B-17, the Avalon Hill game, solo game. That game's got 40 charts in it. I mean, you could get paper cuts just filing through all the charts, and I love that game. But now I look at it and go, it was all right, compared to what we've got today in some of the things. And not to disparage any of the old games. I still got a whole bunch of them on my shelf. But I love the fact that we're in a great age of war games. So speaking of that, so how many games do you think you have?
So have I ever had, or have I have now? So I'm right now. So when I started, it was definitely like, hey, I'm going to basically collect them, right? I'm going to collect and keep and get as many as I can. And I filled up a room, like my old office and my house when we lived in Missouri. And I mean, I had every shelf filled. I had a couple stacks under some tables. It was crazy. And I said, this is too much. I'm not even playing half these. So I've downsized. So now, and we've also then moved. So, lived in Missouri. Now we live back in Minnesota. So I've sold off a ton of games and I continuously sell. So what I do is I get games, whether it's review copies or I purchase them, they come on in. I check. I show them I show some on the channel. Some never make it to the channel because I don't have the interest in them, or I just got them maybe not as a channel game, just as an offline game. And then some of those I keep, and some of them I move on and I sell. So for me, it's not about how many I have, because honestly, I probably only have, I don't even know. So there's these shelves, and then there's double shelves, and then right here, and then there's books here, and that's it. So I don't even know what that would be, 100, 150 games right now.
That's the way I was. I had at one time, 600 copies of games, and I wasn't playing them. And when I got back in, I took a couple years off, and when I got back into the hobby, I was like, you know what, if I'm not playing the games, I'm not going to keep them. And so I have 2 bookshelves, and that's it. And my thing is when because there's always games. There's certain games I'll never get rid of, but some games you play and you go, that was okay. And Noble Knight and those kind of companies are great, right? Because you can sell them and get some credit. And
I just sent them a box of games the other day,
right,
for store credit, so that I could get the max credit, but also didn't want to sell each one. And I sell games on Board Game Geek and stuff. But I sent them a big box full of games because I was like, I don't want to mess with them. They're all smaller, cheaper, less expensive games. And it's just like, just take them. Give me my store credit. and I'll buy another game or two from that. But I'm just and in my mind, it's like it's self-perpetuating at this point.
Right. So, yeah, that's what I do. It's just so, to me, it's just so easy to deal with them, and they are pretty fair, and they give you a pretty good value, And
Yep.
I've got a iron ring coming from VUCA. I've been waiting for it. Finally got it to show up. So I've been a VUCA fanboy for the last couple of months. But all right, so we are going to jump on here, and we are going to do some rapid fire questions with Wayne. And so what we're going to do here, Wayne, is I've got some questions written out. Then I've also kind of come up with some questions just from you and I talking and everything. So,
sure.
We got plenty of time, so don't feel bad, if you talk a little bit. So everybody else, we still got a pretty good group of people in here. So, and how about that graphic, Wayne? That's right. And look, I spelled your name right.
Yeah. Did you just? It looks like you just fixed that, didn't you?
No.
No. Okay.
No. I did. I put the H in there because you guys from the Midwest, don't you do that like A thing? Cold A. So.
Yeah.
But all right. So the first question we're going to ask: what's your favorite game from 2025?
Ooh. So this one's tricky, Jerry, and the reason I say that, I'm not trying to cop out here, but you're stealing my future material for my channel, for my YouTube channel that I want to show off my favorite games, So okay, so let me give you one of my favorites.
That's good. Yeah.
Let me give you one of my favorites, and then I can answer that one question from VT Biker if he wants. It's a little controversial. Want a controversial answer? Want to turn up the heat? I can answer that. But so one of my favorite games from last year is one that I have yet to cover on my channel. I've actually filmed the videos for it. I filmed them like 2 months ago, but I just haven't been able to squeeze them into my schedule just because I bounce between different games, review copies, things like that I feel more obligated to cover. And that is Secession 1861 from Bob Faniff and Fortress Games. Jerry, do you know anything about that one?
I don't. Not at all. Yeah.
Yep. So it is a solitaire design game. It's very much, from the name of it, you can probably tell, right? It covers the American Civil War. It is strategic scale. It is very States of Siege style, with some additional things added on for sure, but very much a States of Siege game, but on a big mounted board, pre-cut counters. Their component quality has gone way up. And since our first couple releases that were kind of not impressive on the component quality part of it. But the game itself and the graphics, well, you wait for my full review for all my comments on the graphics, but if you take a look at the game, and even if you look at it now, not an attractive game, but the gameplay, Jerry, what a good game. What a good solitaire game. So my favorite American Civil War game to play out the whole war was Jeff Davis, Confederacy at War, from Arbed Madison and White Dog Games. This one is right there with it. I mean, it's basically, which one do I want to play? They're both that good. So that's probably, I'm not going to say my favorite of 2025, but one of my favorites easily. Secession 1861.
Yeah, that's it's kind of funny you say that about Jeff Davis. I think that is one of the most underrated games ever. Yep. I mean, I know it's controversial in a certain aspect, but man, it's a lot of fun to play. And
it's history. It's history, Jerry. I don't get it. It's history. So,
and a lot of people, whatever your thoughts are on Mr. Madison, yep. I love his games. I mean, I love the way he does his rule books. I like the way he, Death in the Trenches is fantastic. Yep. It's just a great game. And, but 2025, I think my favorite game out of 2025, or one of them, Rock of Chickamauga, I've played that a couple times, and I really like that card-driven system. It's really good.
Black Swan system. So derived from Blind Swords. They can cover bigger battles, right?
Right.
It's a good system, obviously. It's an obviously, but I do prefer Blind Swords, so kind of the OG system. But that is nothing against Black Swan. It's fantastic system, and those components those games from Flying Pig. Oh my gosh, talk about fantastic component quality.
Right.
Oh wow. But day to day, what do you want to game? Which system do you want? How do you want to play it? What rules do you want to use? I'm a Blind Swords guy. I'm definitely all in on Blind Swords.
So I've got a couple Blind Swords games coming from Noble Knight. Hexy and Wardrobe and those guys got me to buy the 3 Dog new one come out because it's going to have the simplified rules for GBACW.
Yep.
I'm still on the fence. I may bail out on that one. I just I don't know if I want to tackle something that big when I already play a couple crunchy games, so I don't know if I want to tackle that.
Yeah, short and sweet. I'm not going to get it, at least as of now, right? Things always change. I'm not locked in any of this.
Right.
Things can always change. Right now, zero chance I'm going to get it. I think that you still are looking at big maps. You're still looking at a ton of counters. I understand it plays faster because they simplified some stuff, but you're still looking at I don't want to say a slog. I think a lot of detail, some fiddliness, and that's fine. But I've kind of devoted my brain power to American Civil War tactical skill games to Blind Swords, right?
Right.
That's where I want to have my mindset, where when I want to play a little bit crunchier American Civil War tactical scale, play out a specific battle, yeah, I'm going to go play a Blind Swords game on it. If there isn't one, hopefully they're making one. Somebody's probably is making one, honestly. So that's where I'm at. I'll be skipping that. Great battles, even the simple one. It's just not for me. Not right now, anyway.
Right. So we'll go to here. So, what's your desert island game? And let's do this. Let's start off with a solo game and then do another game.
Okay, so a solo game. Solo desert island. Jeez. Let's do this. Let's do, and I already mentioned it, but I first thing when I saw that question in the chat, and the first game that popped to my mind for solo, so now this is a solitaire design game, is In Magnificent Style. I want the deluxe edition from Worthington. I'll probably need a couple copies. I'll wear the thing out, but the fact that so Herman Luttman's system, which he took, a push your luck, something that's much more common in the general board gaming hobby, right? And he brought it into war games. And I know that his original intention was a World War I game, which is now coming out from Warfrat Games, Forlorn Hope.
Forlorn Hope, yeah.
Soon. Yep. So that's originally what he wanted that system for. I don't care. The In Magnificent Style, pick its charge. The fact that you're combining sort of you make choices, you're pushing your luck. So it's every game is different, not just a sense of, when you push your counters here and you roll dice, you get a different result each time. Yeah, I understand that's different about hex and counter games, let's say. But in this, every game's gonna be very different because you're pushing your luck and you get to decide how far am I gonna push it? Am I gonna try to keep moving those brigades up? Oh, what do you know? They're getting pushed back all the way to the start line or wherever I maybe have stopped. And it's just such a fun little game. And I feel like there's enough choices and enough luck that I could play that and I could play it over and over, in between when I'm designing my coconut powered radio or whatever.
Right.
I'm on a desert island. I probably want to try to get off it, guys. I'm going to say that. But, in the meantime, when I got to kill some time, In Magnificent Style.
Yeah, the solo game I play the most of, and I know it's kind of weird, is Viva la Emperor. And
yep.
I love that game, and I
haven't played it. I've been recommended it many times. Haven't played it though.
It's always different. I got the copy from Blue Panther. Nice components, and Luttman does a pretty good job at games. So he,
he has a couple. He has a couple okay games.
I'll say he has a couple, and. But yeah, I really enjoy that game. It's one of my favorites. And
Joe spot on there. Fine balance between chaos and agency with so many of his games.
Exactly. Yeah. So, all right. So the second question. Oh, I'm going the wrong way here. Let's go this way. So,
what could it be?
Your favorite game era and why?
Well, geez, I've been talking about it So it's I'm gonna do another cop out answer because that's what us content creators do. We don't like to give a straight answer. So I'm gonna give you two. I'm gonna give you two eras. Obviously, I've been talking about the American Civil War, so I can't exclude that. I can't not say that. But Oh, I'm a sucker for ancients. And I'm a sucker specifically, though, I will say, for Roman era, Roman Republic, Roman Empire. So you had kind of asked me a little bit of a two-parter on the game question, kind of, so besides the solo game, Desert
Oh
Island,
yeah, we
whatever.
forgot to do that. Yeah.
Yep, no problem. No, so besides in Magnificent Style, which is obviously American Civil War, I'd have to go with a Great Battles of History game. I want to bring the simple rules, although I guess if I'm on a desert island, I could just do the crunchy full rules. So whatever, either way. But one of the Caesar Deluxe Edition, Julius Caesar, or Caesar Conquest of Gaul, or SPQR, although I would prefer the Julius Caesar one. It's kind of a sucker, kind of a Julius Caesar kind of guy. He was not a tyrant, by the way. I'm just saying, so for the record. But anyway, I love American Civil War, and I love Ancients. I do think we could probably have some more solitaire Ancients games would be appreciated. Joe Fernandez had a good one from last year. It was SPQR, or it's like 52 BC Alesia. So basically, it was about the Battle of Alesia, the Siege of Alesia, right? During Caesar's campaigns and his conquest of Gaul. So the wall right around Alesia, and then that madman Julius Caesar builds a wall outside of his guys, so he has an inner wall and an outer wall. Who does that? Awesome tactician, fantastic general, charismatic. Everything you read about is just it's such passion, such interest. It's like, wow, what a personality. And the fact that he's still part of our society, hello, July, to this day. You know what I mean? So Scipio Africanus, best of all the Roman commanders. We'll debate that another time, Nick. But yeah, hey, he conquered Carthage, so you can't, nothing against him, that's for sure. So anyway, those are probably my two eras.
Yeah, I think to go back to the desert island thing, I would take ASL starter kit with me. I used to play a lot of ASL. Had everything, and I sold it, and I'll never dive back into that rabbit hole again. But I do love starter kit because it gives me enough of that tactical plus the crunchiness that it's a lot of fun to play. So my favorite era, I have to say, look, World War II. Stuka Joe mentioned it up here. It's the war you can trust, right? It's there's a lot of good stuff, games in that. But I'm a big World War I guy as well. And
okay,
I and that stems back from the old SPI World War I game. I love House of Glory, Empire, Imperial Tide. I just like a good, and a lot of people will say, well, it winds up being the same thing, and I was like, yeah, well, ultimately it does,
yeah,
right?
Yes, but
yeah,
I don't like that argument, but yeah, I get what they're saying, but it's like. No, I mean, that's like saying the Ancients games. Well, it's two lines of guys just charging at each other. Kind of, but at the same time, no, there's differences. A good game will demonstrate those differences. If it doesn't, then it's not a good game.
Right. So let's. I'm going to scroll through some of the comments on here.
Please do. Yeah, let's answer some people's comments. I want to.
Yeah. So what did Christoph say? Yeah. So Mike is going to get this game. He and I are going to hook up on this because I really want to play. Well, so just to give you a short history on this, Wayne, I won this game on the War Room.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know if I was a submariner when I was in the Navy. And so.
Oh, awesome. All right. I did not know that.
Yeah. And so it's, but I got intimidated by this game for some reason. And then Mike's kind of offered to help me out. I just haven't taken them up, but we're going to get that on the table. So
there's only so much time in the day. I get
it. Cardboard doesn't hold up well on the desert. That's true. And so see, one thing about war gamers is they're always going to find the
yeah, isn't that funny, Jerry? You take a hypothetical exercise. Imagine you're doing. They're literally dissecting whether cardboard is going to survive on this desert island. Like, don't you? What about? Why are you on the desert island? Why are you stranded there? Where's everyone else? Is anybody come looking for you? What? Like, there's no. I just want to. The cardboard's not going to last in that salt water, Jerry.
So here's a question that's kind of, and I do respect this about your channel too, is look, I get a few games sent to me from time to time.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where I will send the person who sent me the game and say, look, here's what I'm going to do. I'll play the game and I'll learn the game. And if I like the game, I'll tell people I like the game. If I don't like the game, I'm not going to bash your game on the internet, right? But I'm not going to mention it either, right?
Yeah.
And because look, somebody's hard work has gone into that, and who am I to slam on some designer that, I mean, each to his own when it comes to that. But somebody did ask in the channel too about some channels that I'm sure get paid to do, some reviews.
Yeah.
And again, as long as you know who those look, as long as the channel says Joe Blow sent me this game and I'm reviewing it, well, then I can take it on my own to decide how much I'm going to take from the review. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And and I do like that about you, even though I disagree with you sometimes on your what you say.
Well, that's not
It's just
allowed, but yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But it is good that you state what you feel the game is.
Yep. I got a long answer if we got time.
Yeah, take your time. Yeah.
All right. So, we're about to dive into some spicy stuff here, everybody. All right. So, VT Biker. I saw. I don't know if it's a Vermont Biker or what. What's that short for? What's your name? I like to know people's names. But anyway, so he had mentioned his favorite thing on my channel with the reviews, and then he had made that. I think it was him who made that prior comment about paid reviews. So, and as I always say on my channel, what I get a decent amount of review copies, right? The more subscribers you have, the longer you're around, you're going to get more review copies. Jerry, you're already seeing it. You're going to see more. It's part of being a content creator, right? They want to have their game shown off. Now, and everyone's different. I know that many of the channels, when they start reaching like the size of mine, and not even maybe smaller, maybe larger, whatever, they have opportunities for paid content. Let me be clear. I accept review copies. I don't do any paid content at all. That doesn't mean that if someone does paid content, it's a negative thing on them or on the hobby. That's not true. But I don't do any. And the reason is because I do reviews on so many games, including whether I like it or not. And I say exactly why I don't like it. And including some games have been trashed, literally, in fact, thrown in the trash, that I can't take money for any games, and I never would for that. And so I like to be, hey, I'll take a review copy because that's transactional, right? A publisher, a designer, they're sending it to me. It's not just because they're my buddy or it's cool. They're sending it to me, so I will show it on my channel, and 5,000 plus people are going to see that game, and it's going to be up there in the future. So whenever someone looks in the name, they're looking for the game, they want to find out more. Hey, look, there's videos. Ooh, Wayne Hansen has videos on this game. So it's transactional, and that's okay. That's part of every hobby. So I love doing reviews, and I'm always going to be honest in my reviews. But yeah, I don't. He mentioned paid reviews. If someone's taking money for a review, I would say that's wrong for them to do. I don't know how many people actually do that. I know there's paid content. I know some publishers do pay guys to do like some playthrough videos or maybe like previews. So like Kickstarters, you do like I've had offers for, hey, Wayne, we'll pay you to cover this game for Kickstarter, that we're going to kickstart it. I don't do that on my channel. There's nothing wrong with that. But if it was for a review, yeah, I wouldn't agree with that at all. I knew it was Vermont. I knew there was something else I was going to, I went on so long there, Jerry, I forgot what else I was replying to. But anyway, hopefully you guys you understand what I'm saying about that. So
Stuka Joe asked, what's your favorite theater of World War II?
There must be some World War II topic he likes. No, I love World War II topics there, Stuka Joe. Jeez, I never said I didn't like World War II. I just said I like probably American Civil War and Ancients first. So I will say, and this is not directly answering, again, this is what us content creators like to do, is answer the question you didn't ask.
No, not all content creators.
Oh yeah, not Jerry. Jerry will though. Jerry will.
Some of us in that. Yeah.
Jerry goes right to it. There's topics that I don't. So World War II is great. I played World War II games. I cover World War II games on my channel. I just did. In fact, I think I have some of the only videos on unconditional surrender Western campaigns from GMT up on YouTube. my playthrough has, I think, 2,000 plus views. So somebody's watching these, and that's World War II, baby. So, but like, I don't cover Napoleonics at all because I don't have an interest in it. Although I'm getting closer to maybe finding something I want to get into. And then, which I believe, Jerry, you were talking about a Napoleonics game, right? That's the one you like from Herman.
Yeah, the Viva la Emperor. Yeah.
Yep, that's Napoleonics. I'm not there yet, but I will. It'll happen because just not that long ago, World War I was like, I don't know. Static trench warfare. Well, it's not just trench warfare. It is. But also there's more to the trench warfare than just, hey, it was guys, 200 yards apart in trenches shooting each other for, 4 years. There's more to it than that. And I've learned that now over the last maybe 6 months to a year with a couple different games. Specifically, I just covered on my channel, literally wrapped up like my review video a couple days ago was La Dare de Dare, The War to End War from Hexasiv.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What a good game. That's a great game. I loved it. It has a solo bot, cards. Athena plays really well. I could see myself playing that 2-player as well at some point, but solo, it's a great game solo as well. So, the World War II, though, I mean, I like it all. That is, what can I say? I do like it.
Yeah, I'm a big, Market Garden, Crete. I like paratroop games,
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know why. I just always have. So Thomas asked, what's your favorite air war aviation game?
Hornet Leader from DVG. So I love the Leader series. The recent ones, I don't like that it sounds really funny for a game. They're kind of full of too much content, but at the same time, DVG has shunted a bunch of content into the expansions, which they're a business. They have to survive. They have to sell stuff to survive. I am fully aware of that. I'm as American as anybody. Like, I get it. But it is a shame that, if you get it, if you're buying a game, you're spending a lot of money, and then you also, hey, by the way, if you want the expansion, it's like $250 total. Like, we're getting into like regular hobby games. That's what they do. War games didn't used to do that. But anyway, if it comes to actual just war game or air war game, it's got to be one of the Leader series, specifically probably Hornet Leader. Just the system, right? I mean, you get to combine that like nerdy build out a squadron, select ordnance, spend points on stuff kind of part of it, almost like role playing, which you guys know I've talked about, I love. But then you combine that with, hey, no, let's go down to the tactical board and let's shoot some missiles. Let's do some dog fights. Let's blow up some stuff, and let's draw some event cards and roll some dice. So the Leader series in general, but probably Hornet Leader just for its simplicity and ease to play.
Yeah, I'm a Western Front ace. I love that game. It's and then RAF from John Butterfield is a fantastic game, and I really do like both of those games. Let's see what else we got here. More memoir. What's this? Do you play, or have you played a BCS series game?
Nope. I keep thinking about it, Paul. I did pick up. They had a smaller release. MMP had a, what was it? Not Court. That's not what I'm thinking of, is it? I can't remember what it was. But anyway, the one that it looked like it would be a good one to get into it. I picked up the game. I held on to it for probably a couple years. And I said, you know what? It's out of print. I'm just going to sell it, get my money back at least. And then at some point, I'd love to dive into it. I know there is, because I think there's like an option. Is it optional, or is it part of the game? There's a chit pull aspect, which I talked about Love and Blind Swords, which that has chit pull. That's why, even though it's a 2-player game, I love it solo because I can chit pull. For me, that's plenty enough to kind of break it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I like about, the cards basically are the chits.
Oh, same thing. Yeah. Same thing.
And,
random activations.
Rules lawyers. Yes, we are. That's true.
Yep.
Let's see what else. Went from Stratego to Stalingrad. Wow, that's a jump. And
no kidding.
Let's see. Yeah, and that's another thing too, is I love when, that's why some of my biggest videos are like my top 10 GMT games or my top 10 whatever, right?
Yes, yep.
And I always preface those videos by saying these are the top 10 games that I've played from them, right? Because I don't feel like I can talk about a game if I've never played the game,
Yeah.
And so that's one thing I do respect about your channel is you I think positive critics are useful. Yep. Oh, absolutely. We talked about that on, somebody was talking about that on Ardwolf's show the other day. So Unconditional Surrender, did you like that?
Oh, I loved it. I'm not a, and I've said this before, I'm not a multi-mapper type gamer. My setup's not really made for it, and playing solo, it's just too much. I don't want to have two, one and a half, two, three, four, like that's too much for me. So I like single mappers and smaller, which Western campaigns, that's smaller. That's not, 22 by 34-inch map. Those are like, it's like a sheet of paper size maps, right? And that's awesome. So you have basically each scenario is its own little map you play on, and just a handful of counters. Which Unconditional Surrender, even the original, was limited counter quantity, which I like. I don't like having a million counters. That's why I went away from game systems like Standard Combat Series from MMP. Even on a single map, I think I got the Cold War one, whatever the name of it is, and I had to set up like 400 counters on this one map sheet.
Right.
And I said, I'm not doing that. I'm not physically setting those up by the hex number each one. No, thank you. So, oh yeah, for sure.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, you're gonna have it on, yeah.
Paul, yeah. Well, Paul, I don't know if you watched my show with Judd, but we talked about that was one. So we did a games we wanted reprinted like a month ago or something. And Astra Titanus was one that me and Judd both had been like clamoring, like, please, we'd love to see this reprinted. And well, there you go. On Kickstarter right now, everybody, check it out.
Yeah, I'm thinking about picking this up myself. Yeah, after watching your
You should
video.
get into it because
Yeah.
it's not as overwhelming. So it's the same rule set effectively. They cut out some of the C-based rules, reinforcements, supply stuff, whatever. You don't really need it in the scenarios they have, but it's super playable. I mean, you're setting up a map this big, throwing some counters down, and they're army scale, right? So like
Right.
you're playing where it's like, hey, there's 8 counters because that's 8 armies, right? Or there's less than that, and super playable. A little fiddly, and there's a lot of modifiers, things like movement and combat. The combat is very much like a DRM base where you're just. But the nice thing is the player aid sheet that comes with the game has 2 tracks to keep track of your DRMs. So it's not like you have to remember it in your head, especially playing solitaire both sides. You record each side as you calculate, and then you can go ahead and you roll your dice and compute combat.
Nice. Hey, so here's a question that I get asked a lot too. So I'll let you answer first, and then I'll throw my answer out.
All right. Does doing the channel ever feel overwhelming? To be perfectly honest with you, yeah, at times. So I have, if you guys see, and it's you don't have to go back that far. I think it was maybe the beginning of last year or something like that. I didn't post a video for like 2 months. I was overwhelmed. Now, I will say a lot of times for me, and I'm not going to speak for Jerry, for me, it's real life. Something happens in real life that is more important and affects me, my family, whatever. And so the channel something has to be go on the back burner. And the channel for me is my hobby. That's, wargaming is my number one hobby. I have other hobbies, but my number one hobby is easily wargaming. And my channel is really intertwined with that at this point. Has been for years. So for me, if I don't have time or energy for my channel or for wargaming, I'm not going to do it. And a lot of times it's maybe less overwhelmed in the sense of, I know I have an obligation, because like I said, my family's going to come first. My family, what I have going on in my real life is going to come first. And I love my viewers and I love the channel I have. But if I have to put it on pause and say, hey guys, I'm taking a break for a minute, that's what I have to do. So it can get overwhelming in the feeling that, hey, there's a lot to cover, a lot to do, and people are always clamoring for more. So Jerry, I just had I had a guy, I'm not going to name names. He was on my channel. I think he's posted 4 or 5 comments now. He keeps asking me for like my favorite certain type of game. And again, I don't want to go into it because I don't want to pick him specifically apart. But he's been posted now a couple days, and then he's like, "Oh, I think Wayne may be snowed in. He's ignoring me." And I'm a little off put by his comments, because in my mind, I don't owe him an answer to his question. I answer a million questions, and people ask questions and I'm like, hey, I don't know the answer to that. You may want to check Board Game Geek or check Facebook or whatever. I'm not the guy that you want to go to for all the answers. I'll answer what I can, but I get questions on videos from 2 years ago and they want to know a rules question. And
Right.
like, I don't even own that game anymore. I don't know the rules anymore. Like, I can't help you here. So this person keeps asking me these questions and I'm just like, I don't owe you that. And that could be, you talk about feeling overwhelming. that could be like an example maybe where it's like, you're pushing me a little too far. Ask it once. If I feel comfortable answering or I have a good answer, I'll do it. If not, hey, you can find out this information from lots of other people. You know, I'm not the only source out there. So, sorry, I went on a little bit of a tangent there, but Gary, what do you think?
You know, I do. You know, I have a lot of hobbies, right? Almost too many. And Jester kind of laughs at me because he's like, you know, summertime I really slow down with the war game stuff, and now this year, this year I've kind of, you know, I've got enough batch stuff, so I'll be able to keep a good flow going through the summer. But you know, I ride a motorcycle and I'm jeeping and I'm outside all the time, and I live in a beautiful part of the country, and I'm always, you know, doing that. So, you know, my thing is, I love our community, and 98% of our community is fantastic. I get some comments sometimes, you know, oh, you're an idiot, you missed this, or you know, and I'm like, I'm 61 years old, so I don't really get my feelings hurt too much by people I don't know, because I don't know you, you know, I don't care. And, it just, I don't get overwhelmed by it because I'll just step back and just do it. And most of the people have been very good about, you know, they'll say, hey, is everything okay? And then, you know, kind of move on. So, less is more these days. Yep. I'm with you, Stuka. I'm kind of doing the same thing. And, you know, Christoph, I've met, you know, I played Christoph, and he's the kind of guy that this hobby's, it's a reason I love this hobby, is just, you know, good people wanting to play the game, you know.
A lot of passion, right?
Yeah, a lot of passion.
But in a good way.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, let's go back to our questions here. And let's go to
what's next?
Yeah, drum roll, please. I need to find my PowerPoint there. I'm a PowerPoint guy, if you haven't figured that out.
Yeah, so. I noticed. I'll answer this question quick if you don't mind, Jerry.
Okay. Yep.
Vermont Biker here. He says, advice for people who want to start a channel. Film yourself. Start it. So create the channel. You know, if you want to come up with a name, I do my name. I'm probably one of the very few that does that, because that's what I wanted to do. I didn't want to have a persona per se. I wanted to do myself and just say, this is me, love it or hate it. And I get both. So, you know, this is who I am. So I was like, hey, I'm Wayne Hansen. This is what I offer. But start your channel, come up with a name, come up with, you know, a little bit of graphics, maybe if you want, do something easy. Go to canva.com, mess around with the stuff in there, create some graphics, create a profile picture, create a YouTube title, banner, whatever, decide what you want to make, and then start filming videos. You know, I mean, get a tripod or get an overhead arm extension. Do with your hand and just do short videos, you know, make little 2-minute long videos. I mean, just get it started. What do you want to do? Do you want to talk about new games you're getting? Do you want to do replays? Do you want to do after action reports, reviews, whatever you want to do? Just actually start doing it. And your first few videos, you're going to look on and you're going to look back on and you're going to say, what is this crap? But it doesn't matter. You're getting into it. You're going to find out real quick whether you want to get better and you really like doing it, or you say, you know what, hassle's not really worth it. I'd rather just play the games. But I always tell people, I tell as many people as possible, please get into the hobby, make videos, post pictures, post them all over the place, social media, Facebook, Board Game Geek. We need to share our hobby with more and more people if we want it to grow and expand and survive.
You know, and I think the biggest thing is look, I'm the biggest example of, I've got a face made for radio, right? And it is one of those things that you just have to get on, and if you're genuine, I have more people tell me, man, Jerry, I just love listening to you because you can tell you love the hobby. You can tell you're just a war gamer, right? You know, and that's the thing, is you've just got to, and you just got to hit play. You know, you gotta, I've got a note above my whiteboard over here that says create, don't wait, because every time you sit there and you start, you know, you get this, well, should I be doing this? Or you get imposter syndrome. Hey, who cares? If nobody watches, nobody watches. It doesn't matter, you know? And so, and Stuka says the same thing. Just start the channel, you know? So, all right. So let's go. So what game are you excited for in 2026?
Let's see. So what's funny is that me and Judd just did a show, was our most anticipated of 2026. We talked about a bunch of different games. I am looking forward to, I already mentioned it, Herm's a Forlorn Hope, the World War I game that uses that push your luck system, right, from
It's gonna be awesome.
style. Looking forward to that. There was, what does GMT have? There was one I was really looking forward to as well. It's like Away Team Pandora or something like that. That looked interesting.
Isn't that been like one of the games that's been interesting since 2023 or something?
Maybe that. It's still interesting. It'll keep being interesting, and one day I'll croak and it won't be released yet. Let's see here. So, you know what? I'll say this, and I don't. Well, you know what? It is going to be a criticism. It's going to be a criticism of wargaming publishers. I think the majority of wargaming publishers do a very poor job of marketing their games, of building up hype. Hype is not a bad thing, guys. Hype is a good thing. Showing off your game. The only ones who really show a game off years ahead of time are GMT. And I wouldn't say they do a great job of even marketing. They do probably the best, maybe-ish, at least long-term, because they do show their stuff off for years ahead of time, or up to years ahead of time, I should say. But guys, there's so many games out there that just appear, and it's like, whoa, hey, what do you know? This is something that we're going to, and it may be because of the uncertainty of wargaming, where I know I've seen designers, like including Herm, who, as far as I'm aware, has many hits and many, his games are successful for the most part, if not all of them. I know he's talked to me about some designs and stuff that he's not sure if like he can find someone to publish. It's like, what are you talking about, man? You're Herman Lutman. And, I'd like to see our hobby do a better job of that. So when it comes to me saying, hey, what games are you looking forward to in 2026? Yeah, I could go to GMT's P500. I can say, okay, well, I backed Field Commander Patton from DVG on Kickstarter. That should be released about July of this year, I believe, is what they're saying. So there's games out there for sure that I know is coming. But I'm more intrigued by, what do I not know is going to be released this year? What's Revolution Games up to? What's White Dog going to release? What's Flying Pig gonna release? So Night of Man 2nd edition, is that coming this year? Is that coming future year? I don't know. I want to see that one. So a lot of good games out there that I'll look forward to.
Yeah, I think, the thing is with the wargaming community, and I think, as you know, it's small. Even if a game is gangbusters, it's still small, right? So margins and things come into play. I do think that I think they're starting to get on the right trend when it comes to making. Look, I'm not a Euro game guy.
Yeah.
But you go look at some of those Euro games, man, the contents of the game are beautiful, right?
Yes.
I mean, rule books are really nicely laid out. Look, they cost a lot of money, but if something's done very well, I think people will pay for it, And I think the biggest thing that I see with and I think the reason some people don't jump in there with a lot of hype is because I think for a while there was some game companies that were throwing out the hype and then never came out with the games, and that kind of lost the trust, I think, in amongst the people. Sure. I come from a retail background. 20 years at Home Depot as a store manager, and if you lose the trust of your customers, you're in trouble. It's hard to get it back, And so it's that's one of those things. But I'm really looking forward to Combat Commander Vietnam. And I am not a Vietnam guy. I don't own a Vietnam game. My dad was in Vietnam. It's a little close for me.
Yep.
But I love Combat Commander. It's probably one of my favorite games, and I'm really looking. So I do have to. Where did you get those big ass tweezers?
So I told somebody on the channel at one point, but for a while people would ask and I wouldn't answer them. Not because it's bad, but because I kind of was just messing with them. And I remember one guy got mad. It's like, why won't you tell me? And I'm like, I guess you'll have to start Googling it or something like that. I don't know. I was being a smart ass, but I'm like, so you know what they are? They're aquarium tweezers. So what
Oh,
they
okay.
are, yep, is to reach right to move terrain around, rocks, terrain, into large aquariums. So you don't want to be sticking your hand down in the water. So you have these tweezers that are this long, so you can go down into the aquarium and grab and stuff and move it around. So that's all they are, aquarium tweezers.
That's
Secret
awesome.
sound.
I laugh because you're wielding those things when you're doing your videos, and I'm like, man, he's gonna poke an eye out or
I
something
love
if
it.
he
Yeah, I've minor injuries only.
right, and all right, we're going to so now we're going to get into the really hard questions. We've been taking it easy on you a little bit here, so we're going to go ahead and get into some of the harder questions. So the first thing we're going to talk about is what makes a great solo war game.
Oh, that's not a hard one. That's an easy one. So replayability combined with player agency. So what I mean by that is it shouldn't be a game that you set up, play once, and say, "Hey, I solved it, done." There was a game. Oh boy, I mean, this I can't remember what it was from. Hollandspiel, who barely releases war games anymore, so I don't follow them really much anymore. But this was a Lost Province, I think it was. So basically, it was a Southeast Asia World War II game, but it was like, and I cannot remember who was even involved. Two of the Asian nations. It wasn't Japan. It wasn't Japan. It wasn't the United States. It wasn't Pacific Theater. It was Pacific Theater, but it wasn't involving Japan or United States. But anyway, it had solo rules, but it was also basically one scenario where you played it and you're like, you're done. All right, well, that was fun. There goes $40. You know what I mean? So it's got to have replayability. Now, does that mean it has to have multiple scenarios? No, depending on the game. But if it doesn't, it better be the type of situation, the type of history, the type of battle or campaign where even starting from the same starting line, the finishing line could be anywhere, right? It could be anywhere. You got to, and I'm a big fan of multiple scenarios, optional rules, depending. I don't want too many optional rules, but definitely multiple scenarios. And then also player agency. What is that? Player agency, it's a fancy way to say choices that matter, right? I want to be able to make choices. So I don't want it to be just, I roll 1d6 and I need a 5 or higher, and that's all I do each turn. And that's all I do. And that's not making choices, right? Not having player, that's playing, and I don't want to get into a dangerous territory here because I do like narrative-driven games at times. But when a narrative-driven game, and I'm talking about like B17, I'm talking about Target for Today, Target for Tonight, when it's too much die rolling and not enough choices, then there's less player agency or there's no player agency. I want to have impactful choices that I can make on a game. So those are the two things in my mind that really make a good solo game. Clearly, there's more that matter to a game, but those are with a foundation of what says that, man, this is a great solitaire game that, let's just say from my perspective, I will play, I'm more likely to keep, and I'm more likely to review on and tell you guys, hey, you should look into this one. This is a good game.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a huge narrative-driven war game, a solo guy. I really like I said, Western Front Ace. Trench Raid is fantastic. The Tank Ace games are great. RAF, there's a narrative in that, and I think the same way with Wolfpack and Silent, Hunters and the Hunters. I love that about solo war games. I also like the fact that I love chit-driven solo war games because, again, it kind of gives you that different thing every time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is really nice. And but one of the things that really annoys me with certain solo games is when they try to make them too simple. That's sometimes I guess they think that because it's a solo game, it has to be simple. What is that?
I was responding to a comment.
Okay.
Mentioned John Tyson's Beware the Ides of March. I got it. Unopened, though, you can obviously see the plastic. So kind of went away from Hollandspiel a little bit. I did like John Tyson, his designs, his like operational games, but it's amazing because it's Roman, because it's Civil War, Liberator Civil War, right? For Roman Empire, Roman Republic turning into the Roman Empire. Amazing I never cracked her open, but there's not enough time in the day there, Jerry.
I hear you. And so I've never played a Hollandspiel game.
Okay.
And
they have a few good ones. I think they release less war games now, but they definitely have a few ones.
Okay, so our next question. So, and here's a couple, just so you guys, I'm going to give a I'm going to give a little plug here to Wayne. He doesn't need it, but he's done some really good videos on games that now Manila I love, and we're going to talk about that because Wayne and I disagree on this system a little bit.
Let's get to it.
But you know, Dunkirk, I think that wasn't even on my radar until I watched some of the stuff he did, and I think that may be one of the games on my radar. Sorry, I went the wrong direction again. You know, and then Storm Over Jerusalem. I never even thought about that game until I watched your channel, watched it, and I went and picked it up, and it's been a great game. And
great game.
Yeah,
I want that solar system, man. I know he said he was working on it. He's like, yeah, I think maybe I can get MMP to publish it. Even when he told me that over an email. Sorry, Scott. I mean, I hate to, but he said that over email. I'm like, yeah, I don't think so, buddy. Like, there's zero chance MMP is going to publish a solar system for the game.
Right. And then so I will talk. So let's talk about Mike Ranella's system real quick.
Yeah.
So I'm a huge fan, by the way. And you brought up something. I don't know whether you and Judd brought it up or something about you were on the fence about getting it because you thought it was going to be too much of the same. And so could you kind of expand on that a little bit?
Yeah. Okay. So Jerry, and this is not a comment on anything else because I'm a big fella, but what do you like ice cream?
I do like ice cream.
What's your favorite flavor? And then what's your second favorite flavor?
Mint chocolate chip and chocolate.
Oh yeah, I'm a chocolate. I'm not as much of a mint guy, but chocolate for sure. Oh yeah, baby, chocolate. So, all right. So say you have dinner Friday night, and it's a weekend. You want to enjoy yourself. You have some chocolate ice cream, right? Friday night. Oh, what a good dessert! Some delicious chocolate ice cream. Perfect. Then Saturday rolls around. You have a good day. You have your dinner. You're like, you know what? I bought a big thing of chocolate ice cream. I only had a small bowl. Friday, I want to have another bowl. You have some more chocolate ice cream Saturday night now. So Friday night, Saturday night, you've had chocolate ice cream. Maybe Saturday you put a little sprinkles on there. So it's a little different. Just some sprinkles. It's the same core ice cream, chocolate ice cream, but you put some sprinkles on there. Cool. Then Sunday rolls around. You eat your dinner. It was a light dinner. You had a salad. So you're feeling like, you know what? I'm going to polish off that ice cream. And you kind of open the fridge or the freezer and you look at it and you go, oh boy, I wish we had a different flavor of ice cream. You know, I love that chocolate ice cream, but you know, all I got is some sprinkles and it's the same ice cream I had before. I like it still. It's good ice cream. And I most of the time, give me another bowl. But I feel like I've kind of had this before and I don't know if I want it again. So that was my ice cream analogy for the system. So
right,
half joking, but half serious, right? Stalingrad, great solitary war game that really got a lot of people into that area impulse system. Manila, I think a less popular but more interesting game / theme. And he added in some stuff that people wanted. And Michael Ranella, you know, if he watches this, I don't think he will, but love you, Michael. He is stubborn. He is one of the most stubborn designers you'll meet. And they released Stalingrad, and I'm so glad he had Revolution behind him developing that, because then there was a bunch of stuff people wanted and he resisted it. I remember seeing his comments online. We don't need that. We don't need that. They've never had this. The track to keep track of the die roll modifiers. We don't need this. Well, guess what? It was in the next one and it's amazing, right? Like they started adding those things in. I complained. One of my main complaint in my review of Stalingrad was, how come the defender doesn't counterattack at all? There was plenty of counterattacks in Stalingrad. And I pointed out areas on the map where, and it wasn't just, I mean, it was local counterattacks, but you would see areas that would have been retaken based on the scale of the Stalingrad map. And he kind of said, well, this blah, 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 blah. He made his little comments, whatever. Well, next thing you know, in Manila, they would make, the Japanese defenders would make some counterattacks. They would attempt to retake an adjacent area. You started to see some more development in the system. But as I saw Berlin and I thought about my experience with Stalingrad and my experience with Manila, I thought, you know what? And going back to the system that those games came from, the general area impulse, area movement style of games, right? I had played Corregidor. I had played Patton's Vanguard. I have played, you know what I mean? And those are a very similar system. You are activating an area. You are moving the units from that area into an adjacent area. You are adding up attack, basically attack strength compared to the defense strength. You maybe provide some support markers of some kind. You roll a die. You compare the numbers. You have, success or break even or whatever it is, whatever the final results are. That core system, I've seen it before. I've played it. I have enjoyed the heck out of it. But now as it got into Berlin, I just thought, do I really want another bowl of chocolate ice cream 3 days in a row? I'm not saying it's a bad system. I'm not saying it's a bad game or design. In fact, I haven't played it, so I can't comment on it. But I know for me, it's kind of the same. It looks very samey to me. And for me, that wasn't quite enough to push me over to say, hey, I got to get this. I got to try it out because I don't know what changes there are. And maybe Jerry, you can tell me if there's been some big changes that'll maybe win me over. But at the end of the day, for me, just not different enough.
It's kind of funny you say that because, again, to go back to your ice cream analogy, right? Mm-hmm. I like my mint chocolate chip ice cream. And the reason I like my mint chocolate chip is it's comforting.
Yep.
Right. And so I like to have, look, I don't want to sit there. I'm not going to play Stalingrad, Manila, and Berlin back to back to back. Right.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
But I do like the fact that I can kind of come out and I can go, you know what? It's easy to pick up. I can get it on the table. I can play it pretty quickly. I'm a huge area movement guy, all the way from Breakout Normandy. I love that style of game. Thunder at Casino, all the old Avalon Hill area. I love those games.
You guys can't see Great Battles of History, Great Battles of History, Great Battles of History, Great Battles of History, Great Battles of History. So, I get it, Jerry. I'm a sucker for a system that I'm love and I'm comfortable with, right? That's my house shoes, my man house shoes. Slip them right on, and I love it.
And that's kind of where I'm at with though. And so it's kind of funny. We will talk about the designer thing for a little bit.
Yep.
A lot of people, for one, I play games for my enjoyment, right? And there's been a lot of talk about Ted Raysteer and his politics and Kurt Schilling and his politics and Michael Ronella can be a red ass from time to time and Ben Madison's can I don't care, right? I'm selfishly I'm just going to buy the game and play the game. If they put out a good game, they don't have to be a nice guy. They can, not that those people aren't nice, but you know what I'm saying. I mean,
absolutely.
I'm sure I'm not everybody's cup of tea, right? But it's one of those things where I think sometimes these people get, and again, I get it. Politics is a huge thing in today's world, and it should be.
Yep.
Right. But I'm not going to quit playing, a Ted Raysteer game because of his politics, right? And so it's just it's kind of funny how we've gotten into that, where it's kind of got another good analogy. Jerry, I'm the game with the Great Siege games. So, and that's that. There's some truth to that, So, but you do a great job on your videos, and that's. I mean, Stuka Joe's made me buy games. You've made me, it's just because you sit there and you go, man, if that looks interesting and if it's cool seeing people play them and that sort of thing. So, let's go back here. So let's talk about designers. Did you see that segue I did? I kind of went in there.
Oh, beautiful.
Right. And
yes.
So Stuka Joe says Ranella's solitaire system is still growing. I believe that too. And like I said, I think it's going to continue to grow just because I think they're very popular, right? They sell the heck out of those things. And so here's my Mount Rushmore. So basically, John Butterfield, we talked about him already. I love his stuff. he's been doing it a long, long time. Michael Ranella, I really enjoy his games. Mr. Greenwood, if it wasn't for Don Greenwood, we wouldn't be in the hobby that we have today. And so he's the Babe Ruth of wargaming to me. Herman Lutman, I love his games. I don't think the guy's he's maybe made a couple games that didn't do very well, but not many. Mike Simonich. So I love the 40 series games. I think they're, if I had to get rid of a lot of series games, that would be the last one I would get rid of. I really enjoy his games. And then Gregory Smith, I just love his narrative style games. And I know you guys are thinking that I left somebody off the list, right? There's a big name, but I didn't. Mr. Herman deserves his own place in the scheme of things when it comes to wargaming. And so I did a video about this a couple weeks ago. So it just I thought I'd bring it out there. So now what we want to do is I want to hear your Mount Rushmore. You don't have to have 6 on the mountain, but who is your Mount Rushmore?
Well, let's I'll definitely take from your list, and I'll go into a couple others. Obviously Herman Lutman. Obviously I've talked about his games and Desert Island game, like obviously. Greg Smith, big fan of his, for sure. So throw them on there. And then I would say, so in line with Greg Smith, Steve Dixon. So Target for Today, Picket Duty, great narrative driven games. Target for Today, take the whole game, but then make it so that instead of me fighting 20 different German fighters over the course of a mission, I fight like 3, and then it's good. Then it's gold. It's a 10 out of 10 game. So you do got to make a couple of adjustments, but overall, he does some really good designs in the narrative driven world. And then I have to throw in R. Ben Madison. So what he's done with States of Siege, and kudos to the design. I just had his name. He designed the States of Siege system, I believe, the original one, Israeli Independence. What's his name? Somebody in the chat jump up. But anyway, he started it. But what R. Ben Madison has been able to do with it, he's turned States of Siege into just this fantastic sort of system and idea. Darren Leveloff, yep, fantastic. I knew Stuka Joe, of course, he would jump in with that. He created, as far as I'm aware, R. Ben Madison's run with it and just releases some fantastic. We just talked about Jeff Davis earlier, right? Between that and then now Secession, which Secession 1861 is basically a States of Siege game. You haven't played it yet, but it is States of Siege game. So that's just such a great system. So when you build, not just you don't just design a game, then you take like a system and then you turn it into something special like that it's almost there's a term in general board gaming, it's evergreen. Evergreen product, right? Which, I mean, it's not just in board gaming, it's in other things as well, right? But you probably understand that from retail. Evergreen product, right? Something that continuously sells, continuously comes. That's what it does. It's an evergreen product. And States of Siege style games, it's a system that keeps growing and developing. So R. Ben Madison. And then I'm gonna throw Dan Verson in there. Although he doesn't really consistently design games anymore. The fact that he created, as far as I'm aware, the Leader series, the Warfighter series. I mean, talk about popular games, right? And prolific games. And now they're getting created by other people that now use it, but they use that core system of the Leader games, of the Warfighter system. And there's all the different theaters, from now the futuristic to the past, modern day, Cold War. You have the Leader system, which I already talked about how much I love that as a solo design system. And then Warfighter, because Warfighter, it's the same thing as Leader in that you're doing the sort of the geeky, the supply part of it, outfitting your squad and your equipment and spending your points. And then you're going on these missions. And in Warfighter, it's like an action movie. They're not simulations, but you get that theme, you get that history in more of an action movie sense. And I really enjoy that. I think that works really well Solitaire. So there's a few different designers I threw out there.
Yeah, I agree. And I love the States of Siege games. Those are, the thing, they're perfect for playing solo, which is what, you're always on the edge of your seat. So Have you ever thought about designing a game?
Yes, I have. I have a notebook in my phone, right? And whenever an idea, I'll be listening to. Usually, what happens is I'm at work, I'm driving my squad cart around, and it's middle of the night, nothing going on. I like to listen to audiobooks. They're also easy for me to pause when I get a call and I got to answer the radio. So I'll be listening to an audiobook and I'll hear something and I'm like, whoa, that sounds like that would make a great topic for a game. And then I'll start thinking in my head, well, what kind of game would it be? What kind of game would it be? And generally, I'm talking about solo games, right? That's my focus. That's what I'm really into. And between that, and then I have had a couple of people reach out. A couple of publishers have been like, "Hey, we love your passion with this, and you seem to know a lot about this topic or this system. Would you like to design a game for us in this?" And one of them, I was like, "Yeah, I'd like to do that." And we started on a rabbit hole just a little bit, and I stopped. And I was like, you know what? I'm too busy between my real life, my personal life, my family, my 4-year-old son, and then my job, and I work a lot of overtime, and then my hobby, which is this, and about playing and then covering on my channel. So for me, it's like I'm not in a place to spend enough time on it. I could easily see say the day after I'm retired, and I hang up the belt and the gun and everything, the badge, and I become a retired guy with a pension. I could see starting designing games, but before then, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, I have zero interest. I just
Really?
I don't have the I don't know. I'm too much of a squirrel guy, right? I'll start on something, then I'm like, okay, I want to go do this, and I want to go do
Yeah.
that. Where I don't think you can really, to make a good product, I don't think you can do that. You've got to really be. That's why some of these guys, Smith and Lutman, and these guys churn out games like they're. It's crazy how many games they churn out.
Oh, for sure. Yep.
And all right,
Redesigns, new
yeah,
designs. He's a beast. I don't know
it,
how he does
it's
it.
it's crazy. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't know how he does it. All right, so we've got about 25 minutes to go. So I'm going to pull up a game company, and I want you to tell me whether it's trending up or down, and tell me a quick thought on them, and then I'll tell you mine. So, and what we'll do is we'll do this. I'll let you comment first on this first company, then I'll comment first on the second company, and so on, and then we'll get everybody else's comments too. So we'll see how this looks. So the first company we'll talk about is DVG. So I'll let you start. Trending up or down?
So I say up. I'm a DVG fan in the sense of they release a lot of good games. They do release some bombs and some stinkers from time to time. I think their main problem is their development or lack of. Sometimes if a game's not developed properly, they'll release it. And it's Warfighter Fantasy is one that I backed, spent a lot of money on. It came and I was like, what is this? Not good game, right? This game's terrible. So overall, though, I like that the stuff they're releasing. Like I said, I've kickstarted Field Commander Patton. I got obviously a bunch of their games already. I'm going to keep getting their games. I'm literally playing a game from there is Vikings Become the Legend. And then I have, right here, Field Commander Robert E. Lee right here. So it's that's my next game. It's on the table right now, and I'll be filming and everything and covering that. So, in my mind.
So this is crazy. I've never played a game of theirs.
Oh my gosh.
I got burned about 10 years ago on a Kickstarter thing that they were doing. And it wasn't really a Kickstarter. I just got a bad taste in my mouth, and I really need to give them a shot. But I've heard, a lot of errata, a lot of, in some of the, now I'm sure it's getting better. But it's just one of those that, I've just never played them. So I know you guys, if you were going to have for my first DVG game, what would you recommend?
Hornet Leader.
Hornet Leader. Okay.
That's what I would say. Although if you said, Wayne, I don't like 80s, 90s era air combat games and jets. Well, then don't get Hornet Leader. But you know,
right.
If the topic, the theme sounds interesting, I would suggest Hornet Leader.
Okay. And what about you guys? Let us know which one do you guys think we'll go through. So
yeah, you guys jump in too.
Yeah. So all right. Oh, we went the wrong way again.
Oh, geez.
So Blue Panther.
Ooh,
So
way
I'll go
up.
first here.
Oh,
I think
sorry.
they're
Sorry.
way. I think no,
Spoiler.
no.
Spoiler.
I think
I mean,
yeah.
Carol, they're going way down.
I think they're way up. I think this is one company that I love the fact that they're of what they're doing with games. I love the fact that they're getting into other design, other just the way they've done like with the with historic wings and all that sort of thing. It's just they've done a great job with that. I love their components. They've done a great job with a lot of that stuff, and it's just yeah, I'm really really happy with where they're going, and I'm looking forward to seeing what else they're going to do. What about you, Wayne?
2 thumbs down. No, I'm just kidding. No, yeah, I think, like you said, Jerry, they're one that, just seems like they're really catching some wind behind their sails, right? And so for the longest time, I mean, Blue Panther, when I was starting in the hobby, they were just printing games for White Dog or Hollandspiel, and that's all they did. They didn't
Right.
make any of their own or they didn't publish any of their own. It was they were printing for other people. Well, now you're seeing them doing this and including I think what's going to probably be a big hit and really put them on the map a little bit more is the new Dawn of the Zeds from Herman Lutman, the designer edition. And
Right.
they've switched now. They've announced that instead of printing it sort of in-house through them, which is a little bit of a downer here. It's like going away from your roots a little bit, but I get it. I think they're going to print it overseas because they're going to do it with higher quality components. But still, I mean, they're getting their name out there, their logo, and just the fact that you're seeing them publish their own games, right, from other designers through their label is a good thing. And I think you're seeing it more and more.
I VT Biker mentions print quality. I have to say, I'm not one of these print and play guys. I don't do crafts. I quit doing crafts in kindergarten, and
Yeah, no,
I love the fact that Blue Panther. I love their stuff. I like their thick counters. I like it's very cost effective, which is what I like. They've done a great. Like I would never have played Tally Ho, Black Fly. I would have never played those games just because I'm not cutting and pasting and doing my own thing. And when they came out with the box part of it, it's fantastic, and the games are great. But I would have never played that game had they not been involved. And but I guess looking back on it, I can remember there were some really bad counters back in the day, right? When you'd get a counter sheet and half of it was printed off register, and you could there was some really there Thomas just adding your guys' group and everybody else that they're adding has just been it's just been fantastic. So
for sure.
all right, we'll go to the next one, and then you're first on deck this time, Wayne.
Okay. Whew, I'm ready.
I went the wrong direction again.
No.
Man, you'd think I would know what I'm doing by the time we're GMT.
Yeah, I mean, here's the deal. They're the big dogs, right? In wargaming, so they're going up. I mean, I don't see them going anywhere anytime soon. I got a weird vibe from them when they were was it after not after COVID, because it was been more recently than that. I feel like recently they had some comments with maybe it was tariffs. I don't know. Basically, they had some newsletter comments that basically implied that they like needed cash to to print games, and I'm like, you're the most prolific war game publisher in our hobby right now. How do you not have cash? Like, raise the price of your games then. And I get it's a fine line, and I understand it. And don't get me wrong, I'm not telling anybody to raise price. I don't want to spend more on games because I get review copies and then I spend money on games, right? So it's it's not offset enough, guys. Trust me. My ad revenue. I've said this before recently. I was like, my ad revenue. I probably buy one new game a month with my ad revenue. I'm not going to sneer at that. That's something special. I'm blessed to have that ability. But like when you're talking about these games coming out that are 50, 60, 70, 80, 100, $120, you can only get so many of them. But I don't understand why GMT would be in trouble. So that was a little weird to me to see that. But overall, they're the most prolific. They're releasing a lot of games. I don't like when they go off on tangents and suddenly they're releasing. Right now, there's some like tennis game or something they're talking about. publishing. I don't understand. They tried to do that with like a fantasy wizard game, which, okay, guys, you can't really see it. These are Lord of the Rings, the card game boxes right here. So I love fantasy. I get it. Talk about Dungeons and Dragons, right? But that doesn't mean I want GMT, who I think can make some awesome GMT games, a whole bunch here and here, right? War games. I don't want them devoting their resources to that. Leave those types of games to Fantasy Flight games, to Garfield games, to all the other ones in the general board gaming hobby. You guys should stick to war games. Release games on topics that we want to see, we want to play. New designers, familiar designers, I don't care. So overall up, I don't like their little tangents, and I just wonder about their business model, how well they're doing financially. It just seems like every now and then they seem to imply they're struggling, and I kind of wonder about that. But I haven't seen their books, so I don't know. Maybe they're doing great.
Yeah, I mean, look, GMT's great, right? I mean, we all have a ton of their games and everything. My biggest thing with them is I love the way they do the P500 thing. I think that's great. And I know some people aren't big fans of that, but I love that, right? It's frustrating that they don't publish games quicker that need to be republished. And I get why they don't. Well, no, I don't. Not really.
110%, Jerry. I don't understand it. And not to step on your toes, but so someone like DVG, who's a much smaller publisher, they'll have games out of stock. But then they'll literally reprint and they'll say, hey, we got more coming. They don't have to do a special thing. And they're a fraction of the size of GMT, I can only imagine, in total sales. But for instance, a bunch of their leader games, they had them out of stock for like maybe 6 months. And then they're all of them were back in stock.
Right.
They did, and they announced a big reprint run there. All of them were back in stock. Well, why is, and I just said that in the chat, Command and Color Ancients. That is, if you even look at GMT, they actually tell you what their all-time bestsellers are. That's one of their top 10. How is that not being reprinted? Now, I've heard rumors that maybe it's because they're doing a combined edition like they are from Napoleonics. Okay, fine. First off, maybe you should announce that and share that with us so we know.
Right.
Like, how is this perennial, what I would consider an evergreen game for them? How is that not being re-released, republished? Print the base game. Let the expansions maybe worry about them later, but get that base game out there. You should have copies on hand for people to buy.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So, all right. So next, I'll go first here. Lock and Load Publishing. So,
yeah.
Oh boy. Here's my thing.
Be honest, Jerry.
I don't own a game from them. I really got burned by them back a few years ago when it came to Kickstarter. Everybody says I would love their tactical system. I love their spiral books. The rule books are great. Yeah. This is, I can't say whether they're trending up or down because to be honest with you, they're not even on my radar, which I probably should make them on my radar, but because I've heard they got much better. I think for 2026, I probably need to look at that a little bit, but yeah, I can't even comment on whether they're up or down.
Lock and Load. I think if there's any publisher that I'm looking at and I'm just kind of disappointed in, it's going to be Lock and Load. And I'd say probably trending down. So I think that something happened. And again, it seems to be some sort of financial something, but unlike GMT that seemed to just sort of jump over it or whatever, I think they got caught up in something. They didn't have enough money to keep going the way they wanted to. And then that's why we saw those multiple games. And I think you're probably talking about the same games that basically were kickstarted. And then it took 2 or 3 years to actually be released.
Right.
And they just dropped the ball on that. And, I have respect for the owner of the company. He is someone that I used to talk to offline, whatever you want to call it, a little bit, not a lot, a little bit. Him and his wife actually sent us. So my son, Vern, long story short, but when he was born, he was in the hospital for a while. Eventually he came home and he's doing great. But he, and guys, people have been watching my channel for years, kind of know the story of little Vern. But the owner, he had sent some like baby clothes to our house. And it means something, right? That's special to me.
Right.
But I'm not going to say then, but I'm not going to hold back from saying I'm disappointed to see where Lock and Load is right now. I think they've stumbled. I don't know why, but they've stumbled. The releases have slowed way down. They were releasing really, really excellent games with a lot of good, amazing component quality, tied with the highest, right? We're talking deluxe components. But then they just stalled out those. They were slow to release those couple from Kickstarter. And then since then, even since they came out, I'm like, what games are you guys releasing? Are you releasing anything? So it just, and I've tried to reach out to them a couple times now. They used to send me review copies. Now I don't even hear from them, period. Not even for asking for review copies, but just saying, hey, how's it going? I don't get replies back anymore. So I just don't know what's going on over there. So I'd say trending downward, but I think it's unfortunate. And I would love to see things reverse and go back up, but I just don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah, I've seen him on a couple podcasts, and they seem like great people. I got frustrated with the lack of communication.
Yeah.
You know what? I mean, there's a lot of things that, look, just be honest with people, and that's where I'm at. So
I think they stumbled on that. Yeah.
Yeah. So now you're up next, Revolution Games.
Oh, they're going up. I think that, they've been going up, or they're steady. I'll say this, I don't see them. I see them as like they, and I guess a lot of war game companies are like this, but they're very much like they're like this. You know what I mean? Like they're not going outside. They're not trying to grow. They're not a traditional hobby gaming company where they're like, hey, we sold a ton of copies of this. Now we can release 10 games instead of 2 or 3. I think that they change games. Well, I think Christoph, I'm not going to say they didn't have problems, but if every other company in the world of gaming can release games within a reasonable amount of time, why is it taking them 3 years? I know they said that. They kind of said something about it was the factory, this and that. Well, maybe the factory held other stuff hostage. I don't know, which case I would get a lawyer, but I don't know. Maybe, again, I don't know the details. But anyway, Revolution, obviously they released fantastic games. Love Blind Swords. I think their strength is that the owners of the company, the guys who run it, Richard and can't remember his name right now, but I know that those two guys, I think that they helped develop the games. I mentioned Michael Ranella's games. I can see their hand in it because he's a stubborn guy and there's things he did not want to change. I remember him posting online like, I'm not changing this. And then when the game came out, it was changed. And I know it's because of them.
Right.
Blind Sword system, other releases of theirs, they do such a good job refining games so that when you have a Revolution game and it's released, it's going to be balanced, it's going to be well developed, it's going to be a good game. They're not going to release 20 games a year. They're going to release 4, 5, 6 games a year. So,
and that's what I really appreciate about them is what you're going to get from them. And I think sometimes in the wargaming community, that's not always the case.
Yeah.
So you do get. So next on the chart here, Compass Games. So I'm going to go first here. I love Compass Games, and I think they're trending up. They also make the kind of games that I like to play. A lot of people get frustrated with Bill and that sort of thing. And don't get me wrong, I get frustrated with. There's a couple things I get frustrated with. The Vassal module thing, it really kills me because I don't think it would hurt their sales, even though he thinks it would. And I think that sometimes it's our way or the highway type of thing, which is great if you can run your business that way and do that. And but I personally think they're trending up. But I know you probably have a little different thought on that.
Yeah. So just to kind of a little bit of the story. So I think some of you guys watching comments, I see a couple of you guys have been around for years. You guys probably know the story. And I don't know, Jerry, you may not know kind of my history with Compass. Maybe not. And that's,
I don't. Yeah.
Oh, no, yeah. I'll fill you guys in quick. Here's the deal. It's not a fun story, but it is what it is. And it's something that happens in this world when especially when you're sharing your honest feelings about stuff. So let's go back in time to 2021, I believe. There was a game that came out called Devil Boats from, I don't remember his name. I don't care what his name is. It doesn't matter to me. It was a narrative-driven style game. And I have loved my share of narrative-driven style games, right? Talked about Target for Today, Greg Smith's, his games. Talked about, B-17, whatever. So many good ones. Picket Duty, whatever. So Devil Boats was coming. I said, you know what? I want to get this one. I want to get this interesting topic I've never seen. Narrative-driven, cool. Game shows up. It is still one of my top 3 most disappointing games I've ever played, and top 3 worst games I've ever played. The rule book had a ton of mistakes. The charts had mistakes. And in fact, well, I think the charts and rule books were maybe one book. It was like 50 pages stuck together, basically. And I remember the designer, he had said, so as the game was being shipped to us, we'd pre-ordered it, whatever. It was being shipped to people. He posted online and said, hey guys, like I fixed a bunch of mistakes. You can download a new copy and print it out yourself up on Board Game Geek. 50 pages. Like I thought I just bought this game. Why am I having to print out, spend my own ink and paper on a 50-page rulebook to correct these mistakes? So and then I started playing it. And I remember one of the things about it was that at the beginning of the kind of rules, teach you how to play the game, there was no way to teach you how to play the game. Ah, there she is. There's the game. And it said something like, I'm not going to try to teach you. Just go ahead and start rolling on the charts and you'll learn the game that way. What? What kind of way is that to learn this game? So, and then you get into the actual gameplay. It was roll a die, read the chart, roll a die, read the chart, and on and on. So I played it, super disappointed. I was frustrated with the game, frustrated with my money, frustrated with the reaction from the designer. And then I'm going to just basically say, hey, download this new material and you'll be good to go. It's like, and I don't know if that even fixed it anyway, because I wasn't going to print out 50 pages. So I was doing my channel and I filmed a review and I shared my opinion on it, and my very honest opinion, which was that I thought it was a poor game, poorly designed and poorly developed. And the support on it was not appreciated, how it was done. And at the end of my review video, in the style of, so I don't know if you've ever watched Dice Tower, Tom Vassell. So he's done, thousands of reviews over the years. And one of his reviews, he took a game that he hated and really didn't like, and he threw it off the top of a building. So in that mindset of like expressing my frustration and displeasure in a sort of obvious, shocking way, well, I didn't really have a roof to safely get on and throw it. I don't want to fall off my house. So I said, I'll film myself dumping it in the trash. Simple, right? Okay, I don't like the game. Here's what I think of it. It happens. Sometimes you don't like a game. Well, that started a firestorm. And without getting into the details of kind of the some of the stuff that was said between me and Bill, behind that's for us to know. There was some words said and requests to take my review down, which of course I refuse, because why would I take my review down? That's my opinion, and that's what I'm going to share it. And if I'm going to show myself throwing a game in the trash, like I said, I've seen worse online. Not to throw other stuff out there, but I think Kev, did he burn a copy of Twilight Struggle or something like that? I can't remember.
Big anyway. Board gaming.
Yeah. So you know what? If me throwing them trash is the worst thing anyone's ever seen on the internet or in life, I feel you've led a blessed life. But anyway, the response from Bill, I didn't appreciate. The response from the designer, there's a lot of personal attacks involved. And again, I'm not going to go into details, but that really soured me on Compass Games. So it wasn't that the game was poor that soured me. It was the response from Bill and the response from the designer. And it just told me, hey, you know what? I'm done with that company. I'm not going to give them my money or my attention on my channel. And that's okay. They're doing just fine without me. They're trending up anyway. It's all good. There's so much stuff to play. I got games from companies I appreciate that I haven't played yet just because there's not enough time. So at the end of the day, that review, hey, it won me a Charles S. Roberts Award. So I'll take that to the bank. I'll put that on my little pedestal and I'll survive. And they'll survive without me reviewing their games.
Right. Well, so yeah, I didn't know any of that. So thanks for sharing that.
No problem.
And Bill, I have no, I'm not in bed with Wayne. And no, I'm just kidding.
Exactly.
Next up, Flying Pig Games. So we're going to have to speed this up. We got about 10 minutes. So I think this is a company on the upswing myself. And they've got the best logo in wargaming. I think it's awesome. And I'll show you guys here real quick. That logo is very, very cool.
Flying Pig Games. Yep.
Yeah, they do. They've got some, they've done some good stuff. I kind of like where they're going. And so I think I hear they're old school tactical. I've never played it. I hear it's amazing. But I think they're trending up. So what about you?
I can't agree more. Yep. They're they're trending up. Great games. Also, somewhat of a slow release schedule, but it works for them because they release high quality games, and a lot of people like them. So I'm a fan too. So I'm looking forward to Night of Man. That was the beginning of that like squad battle system that they've talked about. And I would like to see, or I want to see that second edition release, hopefully sooner rather than later. So
Right.
that's takes that squad battle system to like science fiction. But I'm a sucker for that, you know.
All right, so here's mine, VUCA. I am just a VUCA fanboy. I think they are the way that wargaming's going. Their components are amazing. They just know how to put out a very nice product. They listen to their customers. I mean, all their little solo sheets they've come up with and all the solo boards that they use. It's just, I think they're really, really one of the, I've got a lot of their games. I don't have the Modern Tactics because I'm not a big modern guy, but I did just pick up, like I said, Iron Ring, and I hear New Cold War. I hear that's a great game too. And Red Strike is great, but I'm not paying $300 for it. So, but have you played much of their stuff?
Yeah, so I've got Traces of Victory is right there.
Okay, yeah.
Yep. So I'm not as positive as some people on VUCA overall. I mean, I think they're up and coming. So I'd say, you know, they're trending upward. Yeah, I can't argue that. I do think that people give them a little bit of a pass on errata and mistakes in the rule books and player aids, because you'll see a lot of that on Board Game Geek and on Facebook. And people just kind of look at the fact that they're releasing these cool looking games on cool topics, and I think they're kind of blinded a little bit to maybe the criticism aspect of saying, whoa, wait a second, guys. You guys are releasing some high quality games right up there with the best of DVG and Worthington and GMT Deluxe, right? But then, hey, maybe make sure that the CRT matches the rule book, which then matches the board. You know what I mean? And I've seen that with Traces of Victory, which I haven't done any videos on it yet, but it's a good game. It's a really good. It's chip pull, so it's solitaire friendly. I would definitely recommend it, especially if you like the topic. But if you check on Board Game Geek, there's a ton of errata mistakes in the rule book compared to what they have on the player aid card with like terrain and movement. Can you cross rivers? Can you not cross rivers? How about enemy zones control? Does it cut off supply? Does it extend across? There's just a bunch of questions that they've been working on answering. So they do respond to that. I do think VUCA gets a little bit of a pass on that because people just look at it and say, whoa, this is a new company that's releasing these really high quality games. And they are. But I would like to see them going forward, maybe just spend a little more time on the development part of it. Otherwise, I'm glad they're in the hobby for sure. And I'm excited to see kind of what they do next. And I hope to keep trending upward in the sense of quality as well.
Yeah, I agree. So Meander and Mike brought up a point. You know, some people don't review games because they don't want to say positive things. You know, I agree. And like I said earlier, if I don't like a game, I won't bash it, but I won't mention it either. And you know, everybody's got their own little thing, right? It's you know, I love Kev at Big Board Gaming. I think I love listening to that guy, and I don't agree with him all the time, but you know, you got to love people that are honest, and you know, it's coming from the heart, and you know, going from there. So next up, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, because I saw, and Mike, since you posted it, I'm gonna comment on what you're saying. So, Mike said Mike, he mentioned throwing the game in the trash also lost him a number of viewers. So assuming me, because I'm going to throw it in the trash. And then this comment about, some channels purposely don't review games they don't like because they don't want to post negative things. Here's the deal, Mike. I'm going to be brutally honest with you, man. First off, I don't think everyone has to post negative or critical things about games. It's absolutely not every channel should be sitting there posting reviews, because some channels don't do reviews really at all anyway. They just don't. That's not what they want to do. Jerry, you don't really want to do full reviews, and Stuka Joe said he doesn't. That's all. In fact, and you guys put out good quality content all the time. You don't need to do reviews. That's not needed for you guys. You don't want to, you don't do it. But if you're doing a review, so I believe if you're doing reviews, and trust me, there's games where I've played and I didn't do a review or I didn't do videos on because I didn't like it. But I also had so little interest in the whole thing. I basically was like, I'm not even going to do any content on it at all, period. But Mike, I do think that just to be fair, if you're doing reviews, it's okay. And even you should post things that are critical that you didn't like. Now explain why. Even in my video. So yes, I threw the game in the trash for shock effect, comedic effect, whatever, just to show my displeasure with it. But also I said why. I said this game, I said the rule book, right? It's 50 pages long and he doesn't tell you how to play the game. It's 50 pages long and he wants you to print off a new one from Board Game Geek before the game was even in our hands. Those are things I mentioned in my review. So those, I think, and I could be wrong, I think that that's me sort of saying, listen, I did not like the game, but here's why. And so you as a viewer can say, okay, Wayne, I don't like you threw it in the trash. That was a little bit of a shock effect, but I'd like to think that for all my reviews, and I'm not perfect, so I'm sure I've messed up here or there, I like to include the details on like why I like something or why I didn't like it. I didn't like the idea of me having to print off a new rule book on a game that I hadn't even received yet. I didn't like a rule book that didn't tell you how to play it. It just said, start rolling on the charts. Those things were frustrating to me, and that made me give the review I did. But, you know, again, everyone's different. If you want to do reviews, I just would hesitate if someone wants to do reviews on a YouTube channel and you say, I want to cover games, but I don't want to put anything negative out there. Maybe reviews aren't the form of content you should make, because I believe a good review can have criticism in it and still be a good review. And it could still be criticism of a good game. You just may comment and say, for instance, as I mentioned earlier, Secession 1861. I think that is one of the best American Civil War, like solitaire strategic games I've ever played. But the art of that game is terrible. Look it up, guys. Trust me. The art is no good. But man, everything else is great. So I just think you have to balance things out, and I think it's okay to be critical, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
So I do motorcycle reviews on my other channel, and yeah, if somebody's always saying great things about, look, nothing's perfect, right? So
nothing's perfect.
All right, we're gonna go quick. Worthington, up or down?
Up.
Yeah, gotta be up. Yeah, me too.
Lots of good stuff. Yep.
Neva.
Oh, so up. So I will say, I know we don't have a lot of time left, but you know, in my review of Iwo Jima, I was super critical of a bunch of stuff. I will say the designer, Jose Neva, however you pronounce his name, he's been communicating with me. He's posted now, and Jerry, I'm sure you saw this. He's posted updated rulebook, updated player aid cards, additional scenarios. This guy has dedicated himself to fixing or correcting or improving his game. And to me, while yes, I would like the game as it came right in the box to be perfect, or you know, as close to perfect as possible. No game's perfect. I do love the fact that he's helping. He's continuing to support his game after the fact. And he's told me, he's like, I want to work on my games so that they're better every time I release it. That's awesome. That was his response to my criticism, not, hey, you need to take down your review because you did something I didn't like. That's not what he said to me. He said, thank you so much for that feedback. And he actually took it into account and has been working on releasing new updated player aids and content. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I did an article today on my blog about it, just because I did the same thing with my review. I was like, hey, I love the game, but there's a lot of things that we could improve on, you know, and you know, so yeah, I'm really happy. Oh, by the way, there's a shameless plug for cardboardcommander.com. So
check it out, everybody, and give this video a like if you haven't yet, too.
MMP trending up or down?
Oh boy, sideways.
Sideways. I agree too. Is and look, they're an ASL company.
Yeah,
right? And,
yeah, they are.
And Kurt, no matter what you know, again, back to what you think of him, he saved that game, and he, you know, I love MMP just because I love ASL. So you know, it's but I think they're trending sideways. And then Sound of Drums.
Oh, I don't think I've ever played anything by them.
I really think they're an up and coming company. I really like their.
I don't think. What's the name of game from Sound of Drums?
Assault is the one that I've kind of liked and everything. In fact, I think I've got their website right here.
Sound of Drums. I don't know. I don't think I've ever played anything by them. Let's see.
So Battle Commander series is supposed to be pretty good, and then Assault is really the one that kind of gets everybody's attention. So
one to check out then. Perfect.
Yeah. So all right, guys. Well, hey, we've we've gone past the 2-hour thing. So want to really thank everybody for coming by. Wayne, thank you, sir. Make sure you go check out Wayne's channel if you haven't. Like, subscribe, do all that stuff. You know, but Wayne, I really do appreciate having you on here. I appreciate your candor, and hopefully we'll keep in touch and you know, be able to hang out a little bit.
Absolutely. Great time, everybody. Great time, Jerry. You got a good show here, and everybody like this video if you haven't yet. Give him some props here. So
I appreciate you guys, and again, want to thank everybody who supports the channel in any way they can. I really do appreciate you guys. So guys, I never thought I would do a 2-hour podcast. And I'm sure if it was by myself, yeah, it was fun. I have to say that was fun. So, all right, everybody, we'll talk to you soon. I'll talk to you in the green room, buddy, and we'll talk to everybody soon. So take care, everybody.